feet. Come on.
Welcome. Yes, going live again. Nick here, and I'm playing around with some funky lighting and some funky backdrops, so you just have to bear with me. And I just want to pop on today and just tell you a couple of interesting things. This, I think, is going to be the name of a new show. It's an old Michael Caine classic. Not a lot of people know that, as that's a worse Michael Caine impression. That was a half-hearted one, can I say? But yes, he was famous for saying that phrase. And you know what made me think of it was because I was live streaming the other day, and hey, you get this. I was lucky enough to get paid to do some. I know, crazy, but some people actually pay me to live stream. They give me a topic and say, "Oh, can you talk about that?" And I say, "Yes, okay." And you don't get a massive amount of detail to use, so you've got to go with a kind of a theme and a kind of a gist. And the kind of theme and gist I was using the other day was all about failures that became successes, or things that didn't happen overnight that you think might have happened overnight, things that might have taken more time. Do you know what? And I thought, all I did basically to prepare for this talk was I just looked up on the internet a couple of things. It doesn't take a lot to commit it to memory. You just little post-it note. In fact, there you go, little post-it note. No, you can't see it because my background. There you go. The joys of using a green screen. But yeah, little post-it note. As I just cut a couple of them down on there. Paul put a couple of them down on there, and then I thought, you know what, that could be a good start of a show, something that people could search, particularly when you're going on YouTube. I know we're on Facebook and YouTube today, but this is particularly for a YouTube video that people could look up and search, find some keywords we can put around it. But a couple I wanted to share with you today. There's the great one about bubble wrap. Do you know the history of bubble wrap? Not a lot of people do, I would imagine. But amazingly, bubble wrap started life. It was first marketed as a novelty textured wallpaper. Who knew? Can you believe that? Bubble wrap. That's bubble wrap. Textured wallpaper. But that wasn't it. Obviously, it didn't take off. Velvet wallpaper did, which I find remarkable. But bubble wrap, no. So they reinvented it. They repositioned it. They repositioned it as insulation. Wall insulation. Try that again. Wall insulation. Again, it wasn't the greatest success that they thought it might be. So it went from novelty wallpaper to wall insulation. It wasn't until IBM started using it to wrap up its computer parts and ship them all over the world that suddenly bubble wrap found its perfect niche, its perfect place in the world as the protector of our valued goods when we send them all over the world, and obviously became a huge success into the bargain. But if they'd have just given up at wallpaper and they'd have just given up at wall insulation, bubble wrap would have ceased to exist, and that'd have been it. No bubble wrap. Someone else would have had to invent something else. Who knows? Might be even more polystyrene and things like that. Another interesting one. This was great. Do you know why WD-40 is called WD-40? Aerosol, little tube, loosens nuts, bolts, fantastic stuff. Well, WD-40 is called WD-40 because it was the 40th attempt to get this lubricant correct for the air industry. It was the aeronautical industry. And so they had 39 attempts before they got it working. On the 40th attempt, worked a charm, and so well that actually engineers that were using it were taking home great big pots of it because they thought it was so good. So of course the powers that be who made WD-40 realized they were onto an absolute winner on the 40th go, and yeah, then they put it into little aerosols, made it available for the general public. Boom. I've used loads of WD-40 in my time for all manner of things, metal, just to clarify. So yeah, so WD-40 could have been, if it worked earlier, it could have been called WD-39, but it didn't. So that's why we know and love WD-40. Now, there's an interesting guy, a guy called Wilson Greatbach in the States. He was making a heart rate monitor to measure heart rates, and he got the wrong resistor. He put the wrong resistor in his monitor, and what he discovered is he said, "Oh, it sounded like a heartbeat." So these monitors that he was building were like the size of a TV, big TV back in those days, and yeah, but because he put that little resistor, wrong resistor in, and it sounded like a heartbeat, he then went on to create the pacemaker. That big. Saved millions of lives, countless millions of people, millions, I'm guessing millions, certainly hundreds of thousands of people's lives have been made better by the ability to have a pacemaker fitted. Amazing, isn't it? But if you hadn't got that wrong, who knows? Would we have ever had that pacemaking technology? And one of my favourite ones, and we'll make this the final one, is the story of Dyson and his vacuum cleaner. Did you know he made 5,271 versions of his vacuum cleaner before it actually was working perfectly and really was doing what it wanted to do? You'd think that would be it. 5,000 and what was it? I said 5,271. You'd think that would be enough, but no. He was having done that. He then went to try and get it licensed to manufacture. No manufacturer would touch him with a barge pole. They all thought it was crazy. Get the hell out of here. And so he then had to make his own. He had to find his own factory, built his own factory to make them. That, guys, was in 1991. And by 1993, he had an absolute global success on his hand, transformed the way that vacuum cleaning worked. If you remember the day, the reason they rejected him so much was because if you remember, in those days, you had a bag in your vacuum cleaner. And so that repeat item. So there was a vacuum cleaner with a bag would fill, bag would never last it. So you then throw the bag away, and that's it. So you had to go back and buy more bags. You'd probably spend more on a bag or on bags than you did on the actual vacuum cleaner. So anyway, did away with all that. So that's why they wanted to keep the narrative as it was. They didn't want the change. So there you go. There's the different things. I bet you didn't know that. 5,271 versions of the Dyson vacuum cleaner before he hit on the one that he took to market and marketed it and built himself. So there you go. So this might be a little weekly show all about, not a lot of people know that, but we'll just unearth, dig out some different strange facts, maybe even get some other people to come on and share them and have a bit of a giggle. So there you go. That's my plan. I thought I'd just share it with the world and see what happened. So there you go. Have a phenomenal evening, weekend, day.